So a lot of people get SI and introverted sensing, SI, and extroverted sensing, SE, mixed up. Sensory functions are to do with reality, or just like the sensing world. Like this around here, this is pretty much the sensing world, you know. Not very abstract. We're not thinking about like abstract concepts, or people in general are abstract concepts, because when you think of a person, when somebody asks you what you think of a person, they're not generally asking what you think of their body. They're generally asking what you think of their personality. And personalities are like not visible. You kind of just talk to somebody, and when you're talking about a personality, you're talking about their patterns as behaviors, which is a pretty abstract concept when you think about it. But when we're talking about extroverted sensing and introverted sensing, we're just talking about touch, talking about manipulation of the physical world, you know. So a lot of people get these two mixed up. When you're talking about going to the gym, it's partially SE and partially SI. When you first start out going to the gym, because you're thinking on your feet and you're like learning something new, it's mostly what you're doing is using your extroverted sensing, which is SE, manipulation of the environment. But when you start to make going to the gym a habit, then it becomes SI. You're accessing your memory and performing something that you've performed before. It's more of a habitual thing, so that turns it into SI. What introverted sensing basically is it's the receptiveness to sensations. That means that when an SI user is walking around in the world, like so, I'm looking at the trees and I'm taking everything in, and I'm going like, wow, this is so beautiful. Look at all these trees. Look at how huge that tree is. I'm not as big as that tree. Some more examples of SI, aka taking in and receiving experiences, is like really savoring the taste of good food. A good example of that yesterday was that my friend Brandon, well, you know Brandon, me and his girlfriend and him, we were tasting this this chocolate milk, this new like chocolate milk mix that has a lot of vitamins in it and shit, and we were like, oh, does this taste good? Brandon was the first to taste it. He's an SE user, also incidentally, he's an SI demon, which means that he has the lowest amount of SI that you can have. And he tasted it and he was like, I guess it's good. And when I tasted it and I went, oh, this is good. And I'm an SI user. And his girlfriend is also an SI user, and she had the same reaction, like, ooh, that's good. Like, when SI users taste things, you generally have them tasting the sensation like over and over, if that makes sense. They're really indulging in the sensation. They're really taking it in, because experiences they receive are so important to introverted sensing users. That means that when they take experiences in, obviously they're more important. The experiences they receive are something that they savor. And because they prioritize the experiences they receive and they care about all the little details, that gives them a higher memory. Their memory is more their memory basically prioritizes more, because they are looking for their sensations and they consider sensations important, and the result is a better and more vivid memory. Extroverted, ooh. So this is a good example of me not being an extroverted sensor. I I do things like I don't know how to, as you've seen in previous videos, I don't really know how to operate the camera. I'm not very photogenic. I am constantly like shifting the angle. You'll see SE users, especially SE user women, are really good at being photogenic. They're really good at getting that perfect picture. I wish I had that ability, but it takes a few trial and errors to get a picture that I actually like. But even SE users will be picky about it, just for different reasons. Just because they're like super picky about like, oh, which selfie is the best selfie? Oh my god. My hair's slightly off in this, and I catch little shit like that. But extroverted sensors are more about manipulating the environment around them. A good example of SE versus SI. If I am doing this with the leaf, if I'm grabbing a branch as an SI user, I'm feeling that the leaf is like, it's warm, it's itchy, it's got this nice smell to it. But if I am like using it in an SE way, I'm just seeing, oh, how is this gonna bend when I do this? And how far is it gonna snap back when I let go? And it hit me in the face, by the way. SE users are better at manipulating the environment around them. They're not so much about taking it in for the sake of taking it in. SE heroes are really good at taking the environment around them, just because they're seeing things, like they're looking around the world and seeing how everything fits in a way that they can manipulate the environment. If you were to like map out this, you would see greater depth as an SE user, and you would know how to step around like everything in a way that's more precise, so that, whoa, that is a big ass spider. But basically they would see things in proper depth, and they would be able to calculate like if I threw this thing, it's going to land over there, so this is how I should throw the thing so it lands where I want it to land. My ISTP coworker did this thing where he was like, he was pointed away from me, and he was he was holding his hand out to like, because he wanted me to hand him a part, but he was looking away from me. So I put the part in his hand, and the part started to slip, and it fell out of his hand. But he already knew, he already had weighed the part in his hand. So what he did was, when the part started to fall, he predicted where the part was going to fall, and he caught it without looking at it. It like fell a little bit, and he like adjusted his hand and he caught it. And that's just an example of an extroverted sensing thing. They'll be able to do things like that. Whereas if I, an SE demon, did that, I would be like, oh shit, where's it gonna go? Oh no, now it's on the ground. So that's the primary difference between SE and SI. SE and SI users, well, I'll explain that in the introverted intuition, extroverted intuition video, actually. But yeah, that's the difference between SE and SI. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.